There are loads of mistakes that tourists make when they visit Albufeira, some small, some generally surprising, and believe me, we made a few of them ourselves. And one in particular, we didn't even realize that we'd made it. In this video, I'm going to talk you through the mistakes to actually watch out for, including the ones that we got wrong, so you don't make those same mistakes. Mistake number one is assuming that the hotel food is good enough that you'll never need to leave. And this is honestly one of the easiest mistakes to fall into, especially if you're at an all-inclusive hotel. Now, our hotel was generally excellent. Every night there were plenty of options, our son was happy, there was just no real reason to go anywhere else, which sounds like a good thing, but to be honest, it's not. We never made it into Old Town for a proper sit-down dinner, and looking back, that's the one that I regret the most. It's not that the hotel let us down, it's just that we missed the atmosphere, the cobbled streets, tables on the pavement, just the buzz around the area in the evening. It's something that we usually do when we go away, so don't let the convenience of all-inclusive and really nice food in the hotel talk you out of experiencing at least one night out. Mistake number two is assuming that you'll naturally find the time to do more day trips. Now, we didn't go in thinking day trips wouldn't happen, we just assumed that time would be there when we needed it, and it just wasn't. The week went by quicker than we expected, and by the time that we actually thought about squeezing in going to Faro or Lagos, there just wasn't a day left for it. Faro's only 20 minutes away, Lagos isn't that much further, and we had an entire side of the Algarve on our doorstep and came home without seeing most of it, simply because we just hadn't planned it from the start. A bit more planning before we went, picking a day and actually blocking it out would have easily fixed this. Now, honestly, planning this stuff is a nightmare, even more so if you've never been before. That's exactly why we put together an Albufeira travel guide. Which beaches are actually good, what's worth doing with kids. If that sounds useful, there's more information on that in the description. Mistake number three is to do with the Bengal caves, and to be honest, this is a big one that I made myself and I was actually gutted about as well, and it's a mistake that a lot of families make without ever realizing it, and that's assuming that a boat trip means getting that photo that everyone's seen of Portugal, standing on the sand inside the cave, looking up at that domed opening. For us, it came down to the weather. It was just too windy the day that we went, and the boat simply couldn't get us inside. But even on a perfect calm day, it wouldn't have mattered for that specific photo, because actually getting off the boat and onto the sand inside the cave has been banned since 2023. So go in with the right expectations, it's still a really good trip to do and well worth doing. Now, the next mistake is underestimating how far Albufeira Old Town and the Strip actually are. Everyone thinks that Albufeira is dead easy to get around on foot. We did too, and if I'm honest, Old Town, the marina, the beaches, the Strip, on the map it all looks like it's basically next door to each other, but what looks like a 2-kilometer stroll, say from Old Town over to the Strip, is actually more like a 25 to 30 minute walk, and with kids in the heat, that is not exactly a quick relaxing stroll. Definitely try and budget for taxis for that kind of distance. It's not expensive, it'll be about 5 to 7 euros between the Old Town and the Strip, maybe a bit more if it's late or in the evening. If you're planning a family trip anywhere, not just Albufeira, then this is the kind of thing that we do for other places as well. Honest family travel, basically just what actually happens when we go. If that's something you do find interesting, then please do subscribe. If you're watching on the TV, then scan the QR code to subscribe as well. A mistake that a lot of tourists make is assuming that one Algarve beach is much like another, so they just head to whichever one's nearest or the one that everyone's heard of without checking what else there is actually around. We did this too. We only realized afterwards how different the actual options are. For example, you've got Praia do Túnel, a small beach reached through an actual tunnel cut into the cliff right next to the main Old Town beach. Most visitors just simply walk past the entrance without even realizing it's there. You've then got Praia dos Pescadores right in the front of Old Town. It's central but fills up pretty fast in the summer. And then you've got Praia del Facilisa further east, and it is huge, long enough that you'll always find plenty of space even when everywhere else is packed, and it is definitely one of my favorite beaches. Now, this next mistake is definitely worth knowing before you book, and that is assuming that the Strip and the Old Town are basically the same. We assumed that Albufeira was just Albufeira, that the Strip and Old Town were more or less the same place, and they're really not. Come evening, the Strip is a proper party town. Loud bars, bars, big crowds, an atmosphere built entirely around a night out. Definitely nothing wrong with that if that is what you want. But Old Town is completely different experience. Calm, live music, good restaurants, families out in the evening. Because we assumed that they were basically the same, we just didn't bother going into town in the evenings. And looking back, we probably missed out on that atmosphere. It's generally one of the things that we'd do differently if we went back. Following on from that mistake, because the strip does get properly loud at night, it's worth thinking carefully, not just about where you spend your evenings, but where you actually stay. If your hotel is too close to the strip, that noise doesn't stay over there. We stayed a little further out at the Patio Suite Hotel specifically to put some distance between us and the noise, and it made a real difference to how relaxed our evenings were. Obviously we had to travel into Albufeira Centre if we wanted to, but it was definitely worth being a little bit further out. If you want to go deeper on Albufeira, then go check out our 15 things that I wish I knew before visiting Albufeira. It goes even further into the practical stuff that we didn't cover here. We also have a collection of videos that we've created based around Albufeira, from what we actually thought about the destination once we were home, a costings video, and even a hotel review of the Patio Suite. If you're interested in that, then check out the playlist here.